I am writing this in haste, and in desperate hopes that these pages make their way south, beyond the Velothis and the Gerals. Should you read this before the turn of the year, then may it ease your mind, for it means that we may have survived, and are on our way to Harfingar. Ever since the attack of what I assume to have been a Redoran convoy on our way to the Winter War, F and I have been in hiding. While gravely injured, we were able to press on under great distress, making use of the little mental fortitude and magicka that was left in me. I was able to somewhat mend one of F's legs, which was left torn and mangled after the skirmish. The last days we have spent in agonizing pain and frost, as our bodies are giving way to exhaustion and starvation. As it stands, we have little to no food remaining, and the thirst has already become unbearable. We have since holed ourselves up in a Draugr-infested ruin deep within the Velothi Mountains, hoping for, at this point, a miracle, I suppose. Within the great tombs of northern Tamriel, we were able to uncover accounts and records that seem to predate the reign of Harold Handfree. Among them, we uncovered stories about a great terror, as well as multiple warnings. If we wish to truly journey beyond the Sea of Ghosts, then I must implore you to take all possible precautions. No contingency must be left unaccounted for, and we must make our journey with great care. We are not allowed to make a single mistake, for it could mean devastation and death. As our findings suggest, the fall of Atmora seems to be a large piece of history that the ancient Nords collectively sought to forget. It tells of vows to never speak of it again, and to let the knowledge regarding the old continent be forgotten. For what reason remains unclear. Records and ships were burned among the Atmoran colonists, and even the old dragons that ruled Skyrim during these days forbade people to even make mention of it. Miraculously, one prominent piece of information survived within the old Songs of Iskramor of the 500 Companions' fame. The legends surrounding Ylkafik. From the limited amount of their language that F and I were able to gather, Ylkafik seems to roughly translate into the Bay of the Resting Season. Even though much was forgotten, it seems that the glory of its legendary shipyards mentioned in the Songs of the Return survived. Acknowledgements of Ylkafik are scarce, even in the lengthiest inscriptions and carvings. And even in those branded as heretical, Ylkafik has become a symbol of danger. A place of tragedy, of the grotesque. A reminder of the shadowy depths of an elder civilization that fell to ruin. The records speak of many great fires that set the very coastline of Atmora ablaze for many months on end, burning so bright that it could be seen from the steps of Hrothgar. They whisper of a divine wrath that soon followed the fires, spreading outwards from Ylkafik, enveloping the surrounding region in what is called the Never-Ending Massacre. An event of calamity that none survived, that none have been able to survive. Something more dangerous than any of us could ever imagine. Something so abhorrent that it was not allowed to be put into words, that even the dragons ruling the lands were fearful of. I have been collecting my thoughts after a lapse of consciousness. Should we truly wish to explore this land of dread, we will encounter much hardship and death. I therefore ask you to make your way around the guilds and arenas of the Heartlands, and to recruit those that are able to not only defend themselves, but also their fellow expeditioners. Some that, in contrast to the few that have set out, have a home to return to. Find people with a will to survive. Perhaps people with families waiting for them. While we all have a reason to venture out, you know as well as I do that there are those among us that have no other choice than to flee Tamriel. Those that have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. F has woken up. We will continue our journey. Yours truly, E.
What do you make of this, Eris? I'm in no mood to deal with any Dunmeri mercenaries. We barely escaped that ambush in Hammerfell of all places. I'm still busy repairing our ships, and unless we learn how to fly, I don't think we can get to the rift in time.
Elandril's resourceful, and I doubt anything save for a dragon could ever hope to kill Fiola. Knowing Elandril, they're probably already on their descent towards Riften by some unknown tunnel or passage that he conjured into the mountains.
If that's the case, we should send word to Swims, so that he can pull his head out of the water and make his way south from the shorelines of Winterhold. Speaking of which, has he found anything worthwhile?
Oh, he has. I don't know how he was able to get to the bottom of the ocean through all these shipwrecks without freezing to death, but he found something. Oliviana should be on her way to Winterhold to secure it, but it's quite difficult traveling from it to elsewhere without being noticed. Truthfully, I don't know how much longer we can keep this a secret. I had to make, let's call them adjustments to Zenithar knows how many ledgers, and we're still missing equipment. Have you heard from our friends in Daggerfall?
Nothing, not a single letter. Not even one of those thought whispers that Elandril always helped us conjure up. Luckily for us, there's some cargo waiting to be picked up there. Got a shipment of pelts that we can borrow from. And my left toe's been itching again. Knowing him, we can find my fool of a brother somewhere nearby.
Very well. You and Septima will be traveling to Daggerfall to find our friends, and I'll see what I can do in the Imperial City. Be careful on your way. It's dangerous with all those Thalmor present in the Heartlands.
Make sure to take a barrel of brandy with you. If we don't get something strong into that captain of ours soon, he might just sober up again. And remember that our business here on Tamriel is the easy part.
Hilos Salo, you are weak. Hislosar, mortal. I have given you Ophan to prove yourself, and this is the best you can do. Your line of kings has failed. Your creators have grown old. You allowed the once great warriors to become old, weak, feeble, delirious. Your very existence is a sin upon this world. Your weakness is an insult to those you have failed. As your god, I am merciful. I allow you to fight and to better yourself. As your god, I command you to fight like the old kings once did. Show me the wrath that turned armies to storms of ash. The might that shattered the wise, and that made the powerful drop their weapons and submit. Show me what you can do, mortals.
Since our last appearance at the Creation WarCon 22, a lot has changed on Atmora. Over the last year, we've been focusing on re-evaluating old plans and assets, and a lot of work has been done behind the scenes to, well, organize the Atmora that we always dreamt of. This year, spring certainly has come to the continent, and over the course of the past 8 months, we have taken apart every single asset. Every barrel, every ship, and every rock. And we looked at them. Do they still hold up? Are there any glaring issues with the model itself, or the textures? Perhaps they are a bit outdated, or the new assets are already being planned. These are all questions that we had to ask ourselves. We had a very thorough look at what we have. We made notes of what we still need and what is necessary. Over the coming months, we hope to complete this venture and welcome a reinvigorated Atmora. While it is easy to make plans, it's quite difficult to make sure that those plans are still being followed after a certain amount of time. Plans like the usage of the fabled rune of Ylgafik, or darker and more secret aspects, like the final plot threads of the main quest. To that end, we've been spending untold hours poring over spreadsheets and design documents. Beyond that, work has been going steady in the region of Frolgrim, the place that some of you may remember as the dreaded Frostwood. Frolgrim has become the new home to some stellar concept artists with a knack for threateningly large trees and crooked oaks, drawing and concepting new trees and burrows, altars and shrines, to breathe a truly eldritch life into the old domain of the terrible woodland man, who is rumored to still tear on the roots of Atmora. Atmora means Elderwood, and we hope that Frolgrim will make any player feel like they are lost within the realm of a demon of knowledge. Perhaps, if you're lucky, there's going to be a hare somewhere who would gladly guide you deeper into the woods. Meanwhile, work has continued on the city, or should I say, the Tower of Ylgafik. It's become apparent that a ruin that rivals the size of the Imperial City needs extra attention, extra careful planning, and many new assets. Therefore, we will be reconstructing the ruin from the ground up, using custom tile sets for the exterior, as well as the spectacular temples that will show you just how much larger than life this continent truly is. At the moment, one cannot help but just see a big Nordic ruin when viewing the southern jewel of Atmora, and the team wants to make sure that Ylgafik is a place that, well, I think it's best to keep that to myself for the time being. Thank you all so much for attending Creation ModCon, and we hope that you have as much fun watching it as we had making it.
Era creer fyrfaterin, era creer firmaterin, era syn fornvindin, vindur en tansachad, viti kaldi fjaller eth, luf grini eikerin all, lita lufer fluga hagi meita tans heliki tansa dei tar till vann lifi dei verda ift jat krerer firfaterin jat krerer firmaterin